Hey guys, Mellow Modesty here, and today I am going to tell you about my experience with the Phoenix Comicon of 2013. I did a video sort of like this last year. I didn't show my face, I was a little more camera shy, I sort of just had books in front of me. So anyways, this has been my 6th or 7th year attending the Phoenix Comicon, and it was a great Comic-Con. It was a little disappointing because there was very few graphic novel dealers, and I maybe saw 1 or 2 Marvel Omnibus, and I saw no absolutes the entire time, which is sort of disappointing, because usually when I go to Comic-Con, that's what I like to scout out for, because they'll always have killer deals, so I'll get an Omnibus for half price, or I'll get an absolute for $30, and it's crazy. But also just comics in general were sort of lacking this year. They had a lot of anime, like, toys and anime wall scrolls, and they had a lot of t-shirt booths. The t-shirt booths really bothered me because it was sort of just like stuff you could get at Hot Topic, you know, like stupid internet meme shirts, and I just wasn't a fan. But anyway, first I'll go over the things I got signed at Comic-Con, then I'll go over what I purchased. Quick story time. The second guy I ever met who really left a lasting impression on me was Ben Templesmith. I was, I believe, 11 at the time, and I loved the 30 Days of Night books, which I definitely shouldn't have been reading, because they were way too violent for my child mind. But I read them anyways, and I really enjoyed them. They creeped me out. I was like, oh my god, I gotta check out Ben! And so he was at Phoenix Comic-Con, and I perused the exhibitor hall trying to find the first volume of Wormwood the entire time, with no luck. However, I did find the first issue of Wormwood for $4, and I picked that up, even though I didn't collect single issues at the time. And so then, I'm waiting, and he's doing a sketch for someone, and so when he's done, and I bring him this, he's like, oh, you found a first issue of Wormwood, that's very cool, and I'm an 11-year-old kid, so, you know, artists are nicer to me than they would be to 21-year-old weirdos. And so, first off, he wrote on it, and he had a dialogue box next to Wormwood, and it says, hello, Joe, his signature, and then a heart. Now what's really cool is because I waited, he was like, since you waited, I'll do a little sketch for you. Damn, that is so fucking cool. On the bag and board, he drew Wormwood, saying hello, and then his signature. This is awesome, and this is one of the best memories and coolest things I own, comic book wise, in my opinion. I've just always loved it, and it's left a lasting, just a lasting memory with me, which is really the greatest part of collecting, is just having memories of certain times you get a super killer deal, or you meet one of your favorite artists, and just cool stuff like that. So that's one of my best memories in comic book collecting, and just in comic book everything in general. So anyways, he was back this year. I walk up to him, shake his hand, Mr. Ben Templesmith, it has been too long, good sir. And he says, oh yeah, I totally don't remember you, but high five. And I was like, yeah dog. So anyways, I got the first issue of his new series with J. Michael Straczynski, 10 grand signed. By the way, if you aren't reading 10 grand, what the fuck are you doing with your life, man? You should be reading 10 grand. This book's awesome. Seriously, check this out. It's really good stuff. I walked around the exhibitor hall, and my favorite thing by Ben Templesmith is Fell. And someone had the entire set for $18. This is issues 1 through 9. He even did the little Fell sign on it. Very, very cool stuff. Super excited to get that. I got all of them signed, and that was only $18. And then I got my Fell trade paperback signed as well. Once again, the Fell sign. I finally, within the last 5 years, have found a trade paperback first volume of Wormwood. And inside of this one, even did a sketch. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a skull. So that's sort of cool, you know? Like, first thing that he sketched for me was in Wormwood, and now 5 years later he's sketching something for me in Wormwood once again. And then I got the 30 Days of Night books, which I was too afraid to bring to the original Comic-Con that I met him because I went with my parents at the time. And I didn't want them being like, oh, what's this 30 Days of Night book? Oh my god, you shouldn't be reading this. Damn, that was bad. That made the collector in me cringe. Okay, don't worry guys, we're good. We're good. The book's fine. So, I got the first 3 volumes when 30 Days of Night was still good. I didn't really go past the 3rd volume because I heard it turned to trash. But who knows, maybe it's still a great, great, grand old series. Let me know what you think. But that's all the stuff I got signed by Ben Templesmith. Really awesome guy. I really love Ben's artwork. He's been a pretty big inspiration for me, and he's definitely in my top 10 artists of all time. And, in fact, all of my signatures this year have been from artists. I mean, one of them's sort of from an author, but he's primarily known for his artwork. And yeah, just most of it's been by artists, which has been pretty different. Usually I go for writers, but I've noticed I've been getting a lot more into the art side of comic books. Not saying writing is not an art, but like the visual art. Next people I got things signed by, some of the coolest people in the comic book industry I've ever met. Michael and Laura Allred were really awesome, really awesome, really nice guys. And so I got my Happy Issue 1 variant signed, and they actually inscribed it to me, "Help, Joe!" They're screaming as they're getting pulled. By the way, best variant of last year for sure. Story of Happy I didn't like, but this variant is amazing. And then I got all of my issues of FF signed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that was very cool. FF's fantastic, one of my favorite mainstream comics. Daredevil and FF would have to be my top 2 of the superhero type comic deal. And then I also got my X-statix omnibus, which I showed off a little while ago. I got that signed by Mike and Laura. Right there, I don't know if you can see, but right there. Great stuff, really nice guys. If you're ever at a convention and Mike and Laura are there, even if you're not a fan of their comic book art, which I don't see how that's a possibility, I mean, their stuff is beautiful, still, check them out. They are very cool people. And I would definitely try to talk to them. They're super nice. I'll have some photos of us posing and stuff. You know, cool stuff. I tried to get my Batman issue signed by Greg Capullo, and the line was like 40 minutes, and I was like, I'm not that big of a fan of the artwork, I'm gonna pass. And, you know, I've met Greg Capullo before, and he's a nice guy, but he's sort of full of himself. He sort of is like Todd McFarlane, where they're not like mean at all, but you can just sort of tell that they think they're the shit, and so I just didn't really want to wait in line to meet him, you know. Plus, since there was a big line, I wouldn't really have time to shake hands and, hey Greg, how's it going? Let's catch up, even though we've met once before. So, didn't want to wait in line for that. But he was there, that was pretty cool. A lot of people were getting stuff signed by him.